Hello lovely people, and welcome back to this week's new video. Today, as you can tell, I'm going to be doing my bullet journal flip through for 2020. This is the first time that I actually put all these stickers on here. These ones are like from Move On, they're free stickers. This is from Pause. My boyfriend got me a shirt from them and this came in the mail. They're an organization that when you buy from them, they donate to help homeless dogs. Some from Glossier. My sister got me this. It's a Psych reference, one of my favorite shows. Glossier. And then like some stores that I liked, though I no longer like this store. I always use the Leuchtturm 1917 A5 journals. This is the first year I'm using a squared line one, and you know, I liked it. Although this year I ended up getting a dotted one. Not like purposely that I didn't like this or anything. These are all things that I'm covering up. So my journal doesn't look like this usually. Let's just get started. So these are just like scraps of washi when I cut them off on the end when I use them. And these are some more Move On stickers. I don't look at my index too much. I love flipping through my journal. So it's not filled out completely, but it's just about. So here's my future calendar, right? I feel like I'm gonna forget all the terminology. I started using a grid cheat sheet. I don't refer it too often because as I go along, I end up memorizing the measurements. My month at a glance, I never really use this except for birthdays, which I typically remember already, so I don't really need to refer to it. And then I came up with packing lists. I did easy, like quick social distance getaways as well. YouTube ideas, wish list, bucket list. This was supposed to be a monthly expenses list, but I realized that I didn't have like anything to refer back to compare it, to see how much I was using to make this like a helpful graph or a chart. And also I had begun the year doing a no buy plan or whatever, but that just totally went out the window when in quarantine, so I ended up not really using this. These are all the books that I read in 2020. If you watched my video about that, I'll have that linked. You'll recognize the titles, but it's a really simple log. Just book and author, the date I read it, and the star rating. I have changed up my log for 2021, so if you also want to look at my plan for that, I'll have that linked here as well. So my goal was to read 150 books. So that log only goes up to there, and I ended up surpassing that, so that ends up coming all the way back here, as well as my DNF log. So yeah. And then 2020 releases that I wanted to be made aware of. And I kind of really liked this. I don't really love the lettering here, but now I can see all the favorite books that I read in 2020. This definitely would come in handy when I'm doing like favorites videos. I did one for quarantine and at the end of the year, and I just love this breakdown. And of course, every year I do a My Year in Photos for my Instax, but this year was the first year that I actually was able to get everything on my Instax film. I always would get them on here, or I would typically forget and I would end up printing out photos on my Sprocket. But since I was at home all the time because of quarantine, I was able to get all these shots at home. A lot of them are super boring, like this one, I just fucking got dressed for the day. That's the fucking highlight for the month, okay? So a lot of family time. And then for this one, my January, I hate how this turned out because it fucked up and it looks ugly. But yeah, I always love a two-page calendar. Everything will look the same because I love, what's the word for it? But I just like, it works for me, so I usually keep it. The only thing that changes is probably my expense log, but yeah. I like to do some journaling in here as well as planning. So even if I don't have a full spread, I'll like add a couple lines for each day if I feel like I did something worth noting. February, cute little rose theme. Definitely took a lot of inspiration from other YouTube videos and Google searches, Tumblr, things like that. March was a turtle theme, which I did a lot of printing out for because I'm not an artist whatsoever. So I don't exactly love how this turned out. But even if I don't go with like the theme that I chose for the cover page, I definitely keep to the color scheme. Started reading more books because quarantine had started. This was for International Women's Day. I just printed out a bunch of pictures for women that inspire me, that I look up to, that I take inspiration from. You might recognize some YouTubers. Oh yeah, state of emergency was declared by Governor Cuomo, and so I just printed out a New York Times article to kind of commemorate or like remember that, and then I did some journaling about it. April doesn't have a cover page. I sometimes do that, I just forget. Yeah, so when COVID started, quarantine started rather, I got so much into reading and also audiobooks. So this is why I ended up reading like 27 books in April. That's not even the most I read in a month in 2020. And I also, I don't know if that was from March or something, but I started doing the monochromatic logs for my reading pages read, and I actually really prefer this look, and I've been doing that ever since. The reading rush happened. This was a terrible photo, but I usually do spreads for like readathons that I participate in and things like that. May is one of my favorite themes. I took it from someone on YouTube named Juliet T. Lynn, and it's just a book spread, and obviously I love books, so I thought this was so cute, and I love the color scheme that I ended up going with. Yeah, pages read. I think May was the most, possibly with 29 books. So that goes all the way down to there. I really kept with this theme and I really love pastels, so just all of this I really love. I thought I would collage it a bit with my own photos and photos that I got from like Instagram. This is probably my favorite. And of course, I participated in Asian Readathon, so that deserved its own spread as well. Yeah, I read 19 books because it's a month-long readathon. I also really love this theme as well. June or May, I think, was the month that Studio Ghibli films came out on HBO, and I grew up watching these, so it was definitely my childhood, and I traced these. I'm not this good at drawing, but I loved how everything turned out. I definitely took a lot of inspiration from other spreads that I saw in my Google searches. Yeah, 22 books for June. This was really hard. It took so much time. My hand was cramping, but I definitely traced this. Don't love the way that Chihiro's face looks, but I love this spread so much. And the little makuro kurosukes, I don't know what they're called in English. I watched these all in Japanese because, you know, I am Japanese, so I grew up watching them in that language. Kiki's delivery service, right? Majo no Takyubin. yeah, just a quick little spread for Romanceathon here. July was one of the months that I had a theme for the cover page, but didn't really translate throughout the rest of the month, just the colors did. Which I still really love, but can't draw for shit, so can't expect me to have all of that translate. Oh wait, 30 books for July. That was the most. Reading rush happened again in July. Oh yeah, the April one was the stay-at-home reading rush. August is also one of my favorite themes. Sunflowers are my favorite flowers, that and pink amaryllis flowers. So I definitely had always wanted to do it. And August is my birthday month, so I picked my favorite flowers. Yeah, from August I started reading less books. I had started to fall in a little bit of a slump and I found it really hard to get out of it. I feel like I'm still sort of in one, still trying to dig myself out of that hole. But from here I definitely had been reading less books. A birthday spread. September also, the apple theme didn't really translate into the rest of the month. Yeah, I only read 10 books, so that's pretty drastic. Anniversary journaling. And this is like when I started to get really into basketball, so I started tracking that. This was just sort of a scary Halloween type theme, so lots of ghosts and things like that. Look, only 7 books. Compared to, I know that 7 is still a lot, but compared to like 20 plus books, I was really like, I also had stopped listening to audiobooks at this point, so I think these are cute. I think this guy's my favorite. And then this was just a regular fall theme. I tried a little bit of like collage stuff. Oh yeah, I didn't make this collage, I just found this on Google. And then my printing job is garbage. But I love the fall colors. 10 books, a little bit better. Yes, this was the month that we found out Biden won the presidency, and so I obviously needed to commemorate that as well. I will always remember the day that we found out. We were walking to the farmer's market in the park. Everyone was cheering. It was just so exhilarating, a truly amazing day. Ooh, let me know down below where you were when you found out, and if you were like around people or like outdoors at least, and or like one of the people cheering on the street. This is probably my favorite spread of this month. Thanksgiving journaling. And my sticker, I had saved it. And December was just a Christmas theme. So obviously green and red. A winter smudathon had happened, like a weekend one, but I failed at it. I didn't read. I was back in that sort of reading slump mindset. And also a bunch of my books were audiobooks, which like I said, had not really been listening to, and they weren't coming physically from the library because everything's like has slowed down the process of them coming. So I didn't really get to fill this out because I didn't do anything. And this was Christmas. We went to visit Diker Heights that week, so I just did some journaling about that. And then I saw someone do a spread like this on Instagram, so I tried it for myself. I didn't know how many hours of audiobooks that I had listened to, so that's something I'm keeping track of now for this year. And then, yeah. And then I just did some reflection on my reading year. And that's the end. 2020 was my 3rd year, so 2021 is now my 4th year bullet journaling, and I love it so much. I just love how chunky the bullet journal gets, and just I love filling it out and being able to flip through them and looking at what I did that year. Also just seeing my day-to-day and just having everything in one. I do still also keep a regular journal. I'll put a journaling playlist down below if you want to check that out, and I do plan on doing a flip through for my regular journal soon. Let me know if you enjoyed what spread, which month was your favorite. If you also bullet journal, I would love to get some inspiration from you and know what kind of themes that you have planned or have done. And I will see you all next time. Please give it a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.